I'm here now to talk about, well, what makes a good game presentation, and no matter how good the module or extensive preparation, the judge crouches at the end of the table and reads them on its own, the game won't be much fun. Players need to be entertained. What's wrong with this scenario? You've all had judges that do this. They get the thing, they look down into it, and they read. It's not a good time. It's not fun. You can't hear them. You're not role-playing. That's not what you want to do. You want to give the players a living experience. You want to be the DM that creates a situation that they talk about with their friends after the con, in the middle of the night, when they should be getting some rest so they're not dead tired for the next morning's rounds. You want to be the round they talk about on their way home, the rounds they tell their friends about, their friends come to conventions, the rounds that become classic living legends that get talked about in the RPGA, and you go to a convention 10 states away, and somebody says, "Oh, did you hear about the group that?" And you realize they're talking about the story from a round you were in. You were a player, you were the DM, because that round was so alive for the players. And that's the essential thing about presentation. Presentation needs to be role-playing in every aspect. It's not just role-playing the NPCs. So you read from text like this, and oh, now I'm the dwarf thing, you know, and then you go back to reading the descriptive text like this. That doesn't work. Every part of the presentation is what your job as a DM is supposed to be about. And that gets us easily to the question of box text. You've all had this situation. There it is, a quarter page, a half page, a page and a half of box text. Now, the official answer is, you should be so familiar with the box text that you can set the module aside and conversationally go through it. Well, that's great, but I'm sorry, sometimes you're not as flowery. Sometimes you can't do the tone of the box text as well as the box text itself does. Sometimes there are subtle clues in the box text, or information that the players need in some detail because it will affect their later spells. What about the example Jay gave a little while ago about that room that was 30 foot wide and 20 foot high? Well, you know, you wouldn't know if you were a player what spell you wanted to cast against that wizard if you go, right, kind of go in a middle-sized room then, and da-da-da-da-da. Can I use my chain lightning? Can I not use my chain lightning? I don't have the detail I need. So there are times when you're going to have to either read or paraphrase the box text. Two things to keep in mind. Your players may have done something that changes the box text. Don't read the box text and then go, oops, no, you didn't see that. Oh, I'm sorry, you killed him 2 encounters ago. Oops, he was invisible. Now that doesn't work too well. You need to know the box text well enough that even if you're reading it, because you don't have it memorized, you can change it so that it's appropriate for what your characters have done. The other thing is, you need to recognize that it's box text and that players can hate box text. I had this situation arise in a game of Amazing Engine, and maybe it's the reason Amazing Engine's no longer around. I don't know. But we were playing a scenario that was basically a ripoff of Aliens. I was playing a character on an alien planet. We knew that there was a polymorphing creature in the area. People come in from the outside of the area, and a dog is following them. And the DM starts to read the box text about how they come in and a dog's trotting along with them. My character had enough information to know what to do at that point. And I turned to the DM and I said, I shoot the dog. He goes, well, let me finish the description here. So the dog comes in and he's happily smiling and he's being very playful, and I shoot the dog. And he follows the group in, and nobody stops him. No, I stop him. I shoot the dog. Well, let me finish the paragraph. And he follows the group in, and he goes into the meeting room where all of the colonists are. I shoot the dog. He then begins to transmogrify. I shoot the transmogrifying dog. Well, wait a minute. And then he turns into this 15-foot long, hideous creature with yellow, I don't care what color his teeth are, I shoot the dog. He then kills 120 colonists, jumps out the window, and scrambles for the fence. I shoot the dog. Okay, the dog is now 20 feet beyond the perimeter, you can take your actions. That was very frustrating for me, couldn't you tell? My character knew what to do. He tried to do what what should the DM have done instead?
Kill the dog.
And the DM sitting there, oh my gosh, if I kill the dog, the module's over. So you know as DM, you can't let me kill the dog. What should you do?
We shoot it.
Shoot the dog. Fudge the roll. You miss. Maybe he's an armor-plated dog. Maybe that would frustrate me too much. I shoot the dog. It accelerates the transmogrification and makes him more powerful or stronger or quicker. There are still things you can let the players do in the middle of box text that will allow the module to go on the way it should go on, and you have to let them do that. Nothing frustrates players more than not letting them do what they want to do. If you need to fudge the module, if you need to fudge a roll, if you need to change the module, because the players have blown up, I've done it, blown up the only clue, burned it down, killed it before it gave him any information, guy jumps out of the tree, we run him over. Oh, that was your only clue, press the module. Guess what, you search your body and find some information.
Yes.
You need to allow them to break out of the box text and do what they want to do, because that makes them happy. And then let the module continue. Now, let's look at your toolkit as a judge for presentation. First thing is, speak clearly and distinctly. A lot of cons, a lot of noisy rooms, a lot of groups, a lot of volume. Speaking clearly and distinctly is not simply a matter of volume. You know this intellectually, but you may not realize it at a gut level. I want you to think about this. How many people here have ever seen a comedy routine by Sam Kinison? He yells at the top of his voice all the time! How many people here have seen a comedy routine by Jerry Seinfeld? He always talks in a very nice manner. He speaks clearly and distinctly. Sam Kinison's got the volume, but I can't understand what he's saying sometimes. It's not important to have volume, it's important to have clear, distinct enunciation, and you need to keep that in mind. Then let's go to the style of what you do as a DM with NPCs. Accents and voices. Some players hate them, some DMs hate them, and it's because they go, oh my gosh, this has 7 different NPCs, and this one speaks Scottish, and this one speaks Irish, and this one speaks Cockney, and this one speaks aristocratic English, and I'm terrible at accents. You may be terrible at accents. You may even do the wrong accent. Your Scottish may turn into Yiddish. What is not important is how excellent your accent is. What is important is how consistent is it. If you do an accent, and it can be the corniest Japanese accent that you saw in the original Godzilla movies, it's stupid, it's stereotypical, it may be even offensive to some people. I sound like somebody talking in Japanese. And your players will recognize that accent. And when that character talks, you don't need to say, well, and the Japanese mad scientist then says, you just talk, and they know it's the Japanese mad scientist. They may think he's a stupid Japanese mad scientist, but they know who he is. So consistency is more important than the actual quality of the accent. And if you can't do accents at all, you can still get that across with speaking in a higher voice, falsetto, a louder voice, a softer voice, a whisper, a rasp, anything that helps identify that character. Now, who here has ever seen Star Trek? Come on, raise your hands. Oh, everybody's seen Star Trek. Okay, who can give me a quick William Shatner imitation?
I don't know what you mean.
William Shatner's voice is really not that distinctive. It's not like Humphrey Bogart or John Wayne, but his style is very distinctive. It's the unnatural pauses, the kind of snappy punching of the words that people think of when they think of William Shatner. You don't have to do a voice at all. You can do gradations in speed and emphasis in order to get that accent across. Okay, you say, that's nice for these guys who have done a lot of role-playing. I can't do accents. I don't know what the hell they're talking about with William Shatner. I never saw Star Trek. I didn't like it. I don't know what you're saying to yourself. Or you're saying, maybe I can't do voices at all. Or maybe I'm too nervous because I don't know the module, or because I'm just beginning as a judge, I can't do voices at all. You say, what am I going to do? And I tell you that you're going to do something with your body language that's going to work. That's crazy. No, it isn't. It's not crazy at all. I'm not changing my voice here at all. But I'm looking one direction when I'm acting as one person and looking another direction when I'm acting as somebody else. I can have an argument with myself. I can be totally schizophrenic, but I can also convey the idea of two separate people even without using my voice. That's too confusing for you. You need to be tied to the module. You don't want to look in different directions. Maybe you just squint. Maybe you just kind of hunch one shoulder when you're talking as the hunchback, because you can't do a hunchback accent because you don't know what the heck it is. And you need to keep the module in front of you because it's really dark in here and you only got it a couple hours ago. But at least when I'm the hunchback, I go like this. That's enough to communicate to your player. That's enough for them to remember this is the hunchback. And so you can do that kind of thing instead of accents and voices. Now, if you're really good, you do it all. You do the accent. You do the volume. You do the hesitation in the speech for one person or another. You whisper and you rasp an accent. You look one direction and the other and hunch your shoulder.
You get really confused.
You can get really confused. Or you can really convince your players that they're talking to the NPC that they think they're talking to. In connection with that, you're not nailed to the chair. I'm not nailed to this podium. I can go over here because I want to emphasize this point to you because you've been looking a little bit sleepy lately. And I don't think you're paying attention. This character knows that he is getting the NPC's attention because I came over and talked to him. It made it clear that the NPC is not talking to the group. He's talking to you because you're the leader. You're in charge. And that can give you a feeling that you're in charge. Now maybe if you want to be really, really sneaky and you're playing, the horror role-playing game, you kind of stick your hand here in your ice water surreptitiously and you're talking about players and you act kind of like you're pacing and you go, suddenly a cold chill hits you on the spine. Well, that can be fun and it can scare people. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to get into harassment situations here. You don't want to injure anybody. Let's put all the disclaimers in. But sometimes a little bit of contact on the shoulder or a little cool, finger on the back of the neck or, quite frankly, even a little splash of water. I played paranoia games where the DM pulled a water pistol. You get hit with laser fire. Tap, 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 tap. I knew I was the one hit. He didn't have to tell me.
Play with JJ.
So that's important. Eye contact is also important. Maybe I can't, because of the confines of the room, walk over to the leader of the party to indicate that the NPC is talking to him. But I can stare straight at the leader of the party during the entire conversation. Suddenly, Ken feels excluded. And he should, because he's not the leader of the party. He's some half-witted bard that this NPC wouldn't be caught dead talking to. And he knows that, even though I haven't said a word to him. That's one of the things you can do with presentation. The next thing I want to get to is engaging the senses. Sure, we're all sitting here, we're listening, we're talking. We got the ears going. We got anything else going? Well, we kind of got this hunchback shoulder, so there's a little bit of visual stuff going on. But you need to tell the players everything that's happening to them. If they're smelling something bad, you need to convey that to them. If they have a bad taste in their mouth, you need to convey that to them. If it's cold, maybe you need to be reading the description that it's cold in a shivering voice, even though there's not an NPC there to shiver, because that will convey things to them that bring their other senses into play. And the connection that I want to next move to is how props get involved in this. Now let's face it, RPGA sit-down table games are not LARPs. You're almost never going to be in costume. You're almost never going to be in a setting where there are sets and props and lighting and all sorts of things going on. But there are little things that you can do. I played a Paranoia some years ago. Charles Segui was the person that was the DM. And whenever he was speaking as the computer, "Greetings, citizen, what is your problem?" He did a nice voice, and that was cool. But he put on sunglasses. Every time he was the computer, sunglasses came on. He did the voice, too. I would have known he was the computer without the sunglasses.
but it became a distinctive feel for the module. Ooh, the computer's here. Greetings, citizen. What is your problem? I'm sorry, that information's not available to you. The sunglasses that he had, just because it was summer, it was August at Gen Con, became the prop he used. I played Boot Hill. I don't smoke. I certainly don't chew tobacco. But here my character is going to be a character that's got a chaw. Well, you know, food prices being what they're at Gen Con, I had some celery with me. Break off a hunk, stick it in the mouth for 4 hours. It was a pretty disgusting piece of celery at the end of 4 hours. But you know what? It kept me in character. It reminded me for 4 hours that I was that character. Even when the food cart came by, even when the table next door got rowdy, even when the judge was looking up something that somebody else was doing, I had that reminder. All of the other players could see my cheek there bulging, looking like Marlon Brando in The Godfather or something. That little prop helped. You know, a few dice, a few coins in your dice bag, a pencil, a pen. You know, you've got a familiar, all of a sudden your dice bag becomes your familiar, you pet it. Those things can help when you're a player, and they can also help when you're a DM. If you're speaking as an NPC that's got a familiar crouching on your shoulder, stick your dice bag up there. It all helps the players get into the feel of things. Now, you know, there are more traditional, I suppose, props. Yes, it helps sometimes to have a battle grid or a piece of paper in which you can mark down where people are. Sometimes you can use dice. Some DMs like to use jelly beans or candy. Oh, you defeat the monster, you get the chocolate piece, you know? I don't care about this guy. I don't like chocolate. I'm going after the peppermint. Well, whatever you use to help the players visualize the scene is going to be useful. You can use paper, pencils, miniatures, baubles, candy. I don't care. What you can also use are the players. They're there. They're your willing victims. You say, well, here's the situation. Ken's character, Salvo, is standing in the corner pretending to be sneaky, okay? What he doesn't know is that Jay's character has come up behind. Let's move over here so we're in camera range. Ken's character's in the corner being sneaky. Jay's character is also being sneaky, but Ken's character doesn't know it. You come up behind him. Okay, what do you want to do? I think I know. He wants to kill Ken. And it's a common thing to want to do that. But this, you can use your players as props. You can even use them as amusing props. Somebody starts to argue with you. What do you mean? I can't jump 12 feet. You can't jump 12 feet, it says in the DMG. You can only jump 8 feet. Anybody can jump 12 feet. Okay. I'm crawling up commando style. I want to move 36 yards in a round. I don't think so. Oh yeah, anybody can go 36 yards in a combat round. There's the floor. Let's see you do it. It can be fun to do that, and it's something that the players can remember. Now, you shouldn't, disrupt everybody. You shouldn't put people in dangerous situations. But the players are there, and they're props too, and you need to take advantage of that situation. That's what I'm here, I guess, to tell you about presentation. The third thing that you need to know about as a game master is process. There's a process you have to follow during the round. There's some process you need to follow after the round, or everybody gets confused and unhappy. So, because Ken is the master of confusion and unhappiness at convention, he will now give us instructions on that. And while he's doing that, I'm also going to pass out some DMs, do's and don'ts that Gary Watkins and some other people at the RPGA have helped prepare for our judges in the past. They cover some of the process he's going over and some of the things that Jay and I talked about, so you can take home a little bit of something with you in that regard.